Hi everybody, this is Let's Play 2025 January week 3 and we're playing with brown and red. To start, I finished stitching the background down and have trimmed up the sides of my block. I also should clarify at the end of last week's video, I talked about pulling out the basting stitches with a darning needle, and it's actually a blunt tapestry needle that I'm meaning, like this one here. The ones with the big eye, but it's got no real point to the bottom. They're great for getting under the thread to pull it, but they're strong enough that they don't bend or anything. All right, I've started, I showed a little bit last week about how I kind of know what some of my embellishing and trims are going to be. I did my prairie points. They're going to go there. I have to still tuck them under. And my tree is going to go there. And this I'm going to pin on to the edge here. And I did trim this little red square rectangle and with the wavy blade, and it's going to go here. I did get started on my mushrooms, so the caps anyways. So they're going to go here, I think, like so. Something like that. I've got the bottom still to cut. And I also prepped this little element with the diamond shape with the heart in the middle. I tested it without the rickrack, and I even tested it here, and I didn't like it as much. I really do like it there. I put batting behind it so that when I stitch it down, it's going to have a little more of a 3D element. And I'm going to put it here, I think, something like that. Okay, that's how far I've started. I'm going to get going and let's play. Before I went any further, I thought I'd share with you what I've got done. I did baste the prairie points under here. Earlier I showed them to you pinned together. I basted them together first before I tucked them under because they were way easier to work with as a whole piece as opposed to 4 little triangles. I haven't basted everything down because in some places like here I still need to do some stitching, and here I need to do some stitching. I got my mushroom caps and bottoms ready, and they're here. I'm not sure about the leaves yet, but I've left them here for now. Of course, I've basted that down where the buttons will go. And finally, for now, oh yeah, basted that down there. I made these cute, teeny tiny, seriously teeny tiny yo-yos. I have a plan. I will show you next clip it. But for now, I just wanted to show you how I made the yo-yo. Now, I wanted 5 exactly the same size and little, but to come to that, how big, these were the fabrics I was going to use, and the reason I chose this size is because the smallest patch I had to work with was this size. You can even see some of the frayed edges still from where it was, like, so that was my smallest patch, and I made all the others, which weren't much bigger, but I made all the others that size too. Okay, so in case you don't know how to do a yo-yo, I thought I'd share. And I have an extra little tip for the teeny tiny one. Let me get my glasses off. Normally when I make a larger yo-yo, I like to turn over my raw edge and baste it down, but because these are teeny tiny, there's not much room for extra, so I just left the, sorry, I got the camera in a weird place. I just left the edges raw. So I put a knot in one end of my thread, and I did a running stitch around the edge. You can see it better on the back. About 1/8 of an inch in and about 1/8 of an inch long. So I'll just finish. I only left a few extra stitches. You know what I was musing while I was stitching? I wonder if those, is it an Apple glasses camera? I wonder if that would work for up close like this, because that would be exactly where my eyes are looking, and that would be very helpful to you. I don't know anything about them. If you do, let me know. I think they're more for further away adventures than up close, but I would love to know. Okay, so you stitch all the way around until your two threads meet, and then you pull your threads so that the center comes together or is in the middle. I'm hoping this is on camera. You just keep pulling until it gathers up. And the reason you do small stitches is the finer your stitches, the finer the gathers are. If you did big stitches here, your gathering wouldn't work for this little teeny tiny guy. Okay, so then it's really hard to hold it tight and tie it all with just the two hands. So what I found is if I got my little clothes peg and just plopped it right down the middle, it held it for me. Move that over. While I did my tying, which was very helpful. Oops. There. See? Then you just sort of move it a little so it's the circle you want. And then I won't do it now, but what I will do is take these threads to the back. You can see it here, where I just put them into the back. And the reason I'm not cutting them off is because I will use these threads to stitch this down later. Okay, so that's what I've got for now. I will be back with more. I'm back with what I've got done so far, and I'll share that with you before I sign off on this video. I've been having fun stitching. Okay, I did a smaller version of this back stitch zigzag here and here, and now the prairie points are in. One thing I noticed, and this was not planned, but it happens sometimes, that zigzag theme is a bit used here, quite like between the prairie points and the stitching, and here that zigzagging thing just kind of happened. That and the little flowers. I still plan to put those 3 buttons here, and they're similar to the flower in this print. And I mentioned the yo-yos. I showed you the yo-yos. This is what I'm going to do with them here. I'm making them the petals of a flower, and I have this really interesting red and white button I'm going to put right in the middle of that. Isn't that interesting? Okay, since I last had the camera on, I've put French knots along here. In red, there was a little hole in those spaces, so I put the French knot. I did This is a herringbone stitch. I did that along here, and I did a buttonhole variation. Let me see. Sorry, buttonhole variation along that one. I did a crisscross here, and I did another kind of crissy-cross stitch here too. Okay, and what else did I do? I basted things down, as you can see. I did the quilting, the running stitch around the edge to hold the patch, and then I did some quilting up and down, and it really makes that trunk look like a trunk, which I found very interesting. I blanket stitched this trim down on the bottom, and an observation I had when I was doing it, when I basted it in place, it was wonky, and what I've learned is just stitch, 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 and it eventually settles itself down. And then this did when I did the bottom edge with the blanket stitch, but the top edge still kept puffing out. So of course I did a stitch on each of those as well, and it's just now part of the piece. It's turned into a lovely edge. I'm going to do this one next, I think. I'll show you that next video. But this is the fabric I've decided that's going to go down here as the second piece to that. I took the polka dots out. They were just a little too bright for me, but this red with the creamy white works for me. And I got my mushrooms basted down. And what else? Oh yeah, I've got my bias at the top basted down, and I had one idea, and I'm still going to do a test to see if I like it, but in playing with something else I came up with a second idea that I really like, so I'm likely going to just do the second idea, but I do want to test the first one because I liked it too. Okay, I think that's everything I had for today. I will put as usual, the link to the Facebook post in the description so you can share your pictures. And happy stitching. Thanks for playing along, and we'll see you next week.